dynamite right there. It's inside is Sabonis. A two-hand rip. A brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
KHTKAM Sacramento. KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sacktown Sports.
It's time for game night. Getting you ready for Sacramento Kings basketball.
He's got the bucket.
Game night is presented by Power Business Technology, your locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Contact them at 844-POWER-BZ or visit them at powercopiers.com. Here's your host, Scott Marsh, alongside the high flyer, Henry Turner.
And a very pleasant good afternoon to you. Welcome into game night right here, Sacktown Sports, 1140. Scott Marsh along with the high flyer, Henry Turner. Kings and Grizz tonight. It's game 3 of the 7-game road trip for the Kings. It started off well, that thrilling game on Thursday night at Golden State. Kings winning 134-133. And then on Saturday night, they hang on to beat Dallas in another good win for the Sacramento Kings, as they've beaten Dallas now 2 times this season. And so a chance to really do some damage tonight with a win in Memphis this evening, a team that, as we know, is heavily beat up. The Kings winning on Saturday night again, 120-115. We saw a lot of good things in that game, Henry. We maybe saw some things we didn't like as much. The Mavericks made some runs late in that game, but the bottom line is the Kings got the W and they move on down the road.
You know what, Scooter? I know this is a basketball show and we love our Kings, but can we give some 49ers some love real quick?
Absolutely. I'm so sorry. Of course.
Can we give the Niners a little bit of love? They took care of business, did their thing, and they are going back to the Super Bowl, baby.
Amen to that, brother. And you're absolutely right. Too fixated on the Kings picture not to talk about the obvious. I know you're a big-time 49ers fan. The station, of course, we're going to have full coverage down there next week in Vegas. A huge deal. But you have to admit, you were sweating that thing out at halftime.
No, first quarter, I'm shaking like booty meat. I'm like, what is going on? When it was 14-0, man, I had a lump in my throat the size of a watermelon. I'm like, oh, no, I know this is not going to happen.
They were up 17 at the half. They found a way to get it done. And I still will never understand what Dan Campbell was doing, not kicking those field goals.
Playing his style. You know what? I'm not mad at him. That's what he did. I'll tell you what. You're not mad at him because you're a 49ers fan. That's why you're not mad at him. No, I'm looking at the whole totality of it too, Scott. They had their way with the Niners. The Niners got lucky. Mm-hmm. They had their way with them. Yeah. You know, for the Niners defense to be so potent, Detroit ran through them like Swiss cheese.
They did.
They ran the ball on 3rd and 13. No, we're not going to pass. That's not what we do.
Don't have to.
We're going to run this ball down your throat, and they got the first down. So that's what I'm saying. I love the way he's like, no, we're going to play the way we play. Either we're going to win or we're going to lose, but we're going out our way.
Okay, and that's fair, and I agree with that because he's been doing that the whole year. But then explain to me why he didn't go for the touchdown at the end of the half. A chance to go up 3 touchdowns and he kicked the field goal.
Exactly.
So
I would have went. I'd have tried to put the dagger because you know what? If they would have got it, game over.
It might have been.
Game over.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the Niners were one ball off the helmet away from losing. I'm glad they did, but I'm telling you, if Brendan Ayuk, boy, is he a freak.
A Sacramento guy, too. Sierra College.
Is he a freak?
Yes, he is.
If he didn't put the extra energy in to catch that ball, we might be sad today, Scooter.
Yeah, but we are happy right now.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Niners in the Super Bowl.
Gang, baby, gang.
Yeah, so we can talk about that as much as you want. Anybody out there wants to talk about that, we'll certainly talk about that, too. 916-339-1140. Henry and I are with you until 4:30. Henry's with you much longer. He'll be here for Kings Live pregame tonight. Tip tonight, 5 o'clock in Memphis. And for the Kings, they have a chance to continue something really good here as well. They've won 3 straight, chance to win their 4th in a row. And it really feels like for Sacramento, since they had the tough 4-game losing streak, they had the 3 days off. They got a chance to rest before Atlanta. They got a couple of more days off before Golden State. It seems like they feel a little bit recuperated. They feel like they've found their groove a little bit again. You know what, Scooter? Harrison Barnes has definitely stepped his game up and is really helping this basketball team out. Herter is playing good basketball once again. Keegan is Keegan. Love the kid. You know, Sabonis is playing Sabonis. But De'Aaron Fox looked like he got his bounce back against Dallas.
Now, I'm talking about the step on the accelerator. We see you. De'Aaron Fox, he's gone. Exploding to the basket, dunking the basketball, De'Aaron Fox. So I hope this is the start of something that's going to be here for a while.
Yeah, no, Fox, that was the first time I thought he looked like he had earlier in the season, to your point. He went out and got 34 points, and just the bounce and the way he moved, that's the telltale sign for De'Aaron Fox, how fast he looks out on the floor.
Exactly. You can watch De'Aaron play, and at certain instances in the game, you see when he steps on that NOS button. I mean, if you can't see that, you're blind. He steps on the NOS button and blows past everybody. We saw that at least 2 or 3 times the other night. That's the D-Fox that we're used to.
No question. And HB, 91 points in the last 3 games.
Harrison Barnes.
Is he a write-in candidate now?
Hey, I'm like this. Are you putting in a good paperwork to stay here, or are you showing everybody you're ready to leave? Which one is it? I really don't care. But as long as you keep putting up numbers like that, I'm with it.
Well, it's so interesting you mentioned that, because obviously all the trade rumors with HB and Kevin Huerter, and both of them are playing a lot better now. Herter's now shooting 50% from the field in his last 6 games. You could tell me more. Maybe I'm naive about it. I don't think the two are related, but are they?
No. When I look at Kevin Huerter, he was just missing shots. Kevin Huerter would still go out and shoot 1 for 12. And I'm fine with that. If you're a shooter, I am totally fine with that. Harrison Barnes was something totally different. Harrison Barnes will stand in the corner and shoot 1 for 3 and end up with 1 rebound and 1 assist in 30 minutes.
Yes.
That's unacceptable. That's letting me know that you're not even trying. You're just standing and watching and seeing what happens. Kevin Huerter was just missing shots. So it's 2 total different things, if you ask me.
No question. And Barnes in this game, he didn't have 20 attempts or more, but he had 11, made 6 of 11. And I think that's a great number for him. The Kings, it's amazing. When he scores 16 points or more, they're now 17-2 on the year.
Bro, that's all we asking. Get your average. On a basketball team, and people say, well, they got to get Harrison Barnes involved. They got to run plays for Harrison Barnes. The Kings don't run plays. But it's a read and react offense.
But Mike Brown did say they ran plays for him.
They did not run a play for him. They put Harrison in the pick. They put Harrison in a back pick situation that got him to the basket. But that can be any King on the squad.
But they did run it for him late in that game.
And they ran it for him. It wasn't a special play for him.
No. It's not the HB play.
But they got the ball to him. I'm with that.
Yeah, no question. And if he continues to play like this, they will do more things like that. For the Kings, of course, the good note is they had a 20-plus point lead. The bad news is, obviously, the Mavs made a run. They were on a second night of a back-to-back. Did it concern you that the runs Dallas made throughout that game?
No, because basketball is played like that now, Scooter. And, with the 3-point line, nobody that has a 20-point lead is safe. That 3-point line neutralizes that 20-point lead very quickly. If you come down, knock 2 down, get 2 stops, and knock 2 more down, you right back in the game.
Yeah, no question. Now, Luka was held, quote unquote, to 28. He was just 9 of 26 from the floor. It was still 105-point back-to-back games for Luka. He had Friday night 77.
The dude's a walking bucket, Scott. As much as we talk about him, we criticize him, we call him overweight, the pudgy one, all the jokes, this dude can score. Hey, we can say what we want, but I'm telling you, 73 points is hard to get if you're an athletic freak. That's why it hasn't been done not too many times in the NBA history. This dude got it in there. He is in the books and probably will go down in the Hall of Fame.
No doubt, but he was just 1 of 9 from distance. And I think when you see Luka, and I know we question a little bit sometimes if he is in absolute NBA tip-top shape or not. He did look a little tired on this second night of a back-to-back.
I mean, you have a bunch of players just like that.
Sure. He's not by himself. That's true.
Kawhi Leonard wouldn't even attempt to play in back-to-backs last year, but at least this guy is out there trying to give it to you. Now, it just didn't fall his way, but you think about this, Scott. He gave you 73 the night before.
77.
Excuse me, 77.
Or 73. I'm sorry, it was 73.
Yeah, because number 77.
Yes, correct.
He gave you 73 the night before. I mean, I'm like Tyrese. How much do you want from me? It's like, man, this dude is giving you everything. But, at the end of the day, you do have to play back-to-backs. Now, I'm not going to question his in-shapeness at all. No more,
I know.
Because he's getting the job done.
He is getting the job done. So it was 101 points, to clarify that, over the 2-game stretch for him. An amazing feat for him. But the Kings held on, and they got the 120-115 win. Again, a couple of missed free throws down the stretch. That one didn't hurt them, fortunately.
No, not this time. But for me, Scott, it's still a problem.
We saw Kevin Huerter miss a couple late at Golden State.
And I'm going to tell you this. Missed free throws, to me, is a bigger problem on this basketball team than not playing defense. We know who we are defensively. We know that. But free throws, any basketball team shouldn't be talking about 70% under. Not one. But we're there.
Yes, we are. How about this? You talk about the defense. The Kings are right now 18th in defensive rating.
Okay.
That's not bad. I mean, Mike Brown set out as a goal to get into the top 15, right? To upper half of the league. They're almost there.
Hey, you're right there. You're right there. I'm with that.
Yeah.
I'm with that. I mean, we still, are making major leverage on the defensive end. But on particular situations, we can put together quarters to where we play decent defense. I'm with that, because before we wasn't even there. I mean, the defense was just non-existent.
Yeah, no question. I mean, that is definitely an upgrade, and at least it seems to be trending in a better direction for the Kings. The Kings also winning the points in the paint battle as well, 62-54. Of course, RT Painting, our sponsor of the Points in the Paint. Look, your reliable and trusted painter in the Sacramento market since 1998. That's always a good stat for the Kings.
Yeah. Whenever you can control the paint, Scott, as much as we talk about, shooting threes in this league, it's still something to be said for a basketball team who can control the paint. I mean, the Philadelphia 76ers are probably one of the best teams that control the paint, because Embiid is just such a big terror down there. But that's one of the reasons why they are very successful in winning basketball games.
Yeah, changing topics just a little bit, but you mentioned Embiid. He's going to miss a second straight game today. Are you concerned about that knee? I
always with a big fella.
It's amazing numbers he's putting up. Obviously, when he's playing, it doesn't seem to be affecting him at all, but he has missed quite a few games with that knee.
Always concerned about a big fella in knees, big fella with ankles, because, they don't recuperate the exact same way a guard does. A guard can pretty much play with a sore ankle. He might play with a sore ankle for the rest of the season and do something in the summertime, to help fix it. But big man with the ankles and knees, that takes them down quick.
No, it does. All right. Sacramento and Memphis. The Grizz are on a back-to-back, by the way, too. They played last night in Indiana. So even though the Kings have this long road trip, it's been setting up kind of nicely for them.
I didn't know that it was set up like that. We look at the road trip and all we do is see the opponent, but we don't look at every last opponent up until this point has come off a back-to-back for the Sacramento Kings while we're on the road.
Exactly. It's kind of crazy. And you look at the Heat, of course, that's Wednesday's opponent. They've lost 6 straight right now.
Wow.
Heat are not playing good basketball.
What's going on with Miami? Yeah, I was really looking at it like, they had some guys that was on the chopping blocks. They're ready to trade some players.
Yeah.
So, and Miami Heat is usually a solid organization. So when you hear the rumblings about stuff happening down there, it must really be bad.
All right. Game night's underway here. Sacktown Sports 1140 during the break. Of course, we're up and running in our YouTube chat as well. You can log on to YouTube, go Sacktown 1140. Join us there. Plenty of conversation. And, of course, you can call in 916-339-1140. 10 will get to you in just a moment here. Game night being brought to you by the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Sacramento. If you're looking to do something good in our community, you want to help out a child who needs a mentor outside the household, this could be the perfect fit for you. Give Big Brothers, Big Sisters a call. Find out what it's all about. 916-646-9300 or simply go to bbbs-sac.org to learn more about it. More of Game Night right here on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Alrighty, we are live on YouTube. Hello.
Kyle, how are you, my man?
I am doing wonderful today. My team is in the Super Bowl. It's fantastic.
Yes, I know your Chiefs are there.
Yes.
Hold on. His team, I could have swore Calden had on every...
I thought he was going to come in a big Elvis costume today.
I mean, he had every other team memorabilia on for the last week.
Yeah,
I could have swore he had a Seahawks, something with the Seahawks.
Oh, yeah. He's got his 12th man jersey.
And, he came in with some Chicago stuff on. Then it was Detroit.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, it's my team, Kansas City.
Football, my boy Patrick Mahomes is always number one.
I will say this. I mean, the way the Niners have played in the playoffs, I don't see them beating Kansas City.
Oh, really?
I don't.
Really?
I wouldn't go that far.
You know what? I got a man crush. Mm-hmm. I got a man crush on Patrick Mahomes. You know what? Patrick Mahomes to me is probably one of the most best quarterbacks since Joe Montana, and I lived and died Joe Montana.
He was the gold standard.
Yeah, but this dude is, I mean, he's just electrifying on the football field. The way he plays the game, his approach, and he's one of those quarterbacks who can definitely take over a game and single-handedly win just on the offensive side alone.
There's no question. There's no other quarterback on the planet who can make some of the plays that Mahomes makes.
Right. And we always want to put players on a barometer. And I always say this, even with basketball, we talk about the difference between Michael Jordan and LeBron. I'm like, Patrick Mahomes scares coaches. Mm-hmm. Some coaches are afraid of him. That goes to show your greatness. When other teams fear you, that's when you've done something very, very great. You know what? I'm pretty sure it's a lot of coaches to where Brock Purdy don't scare them. Like, okay, he's Brock, so what?
You know who scares them? Trent Williams. That's who's scary. Trent Williams being the gigantic offensive lineman blocking for Brock Purdy is going to scare some people.
I don't argue with that at all either. We've got a lot of time to talk about that. Let's talk some Kings.
Let's talk about the Kings.
What do we get going on in our chat?
Some people were
in
excited.
Our stream.
It can be a chat room. Okay. It can be a stream. It's all good. Okay. Real quick, we got a minute before the break comes out, but some people are excited about De'Aaron Fox and him having the big game, obviously.
Yeah.
One note that I saw during the game is that no team in the last 20 years had blown a 9-point lead in the last 30 seconds of a basketball game. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the Kings ended up surviving because Barnes hit the free throws at the end, but Luka missed a free throw on the 3-point play. They had an opportunity to creep up at the end.
Well, no doubt. And after what happened in Phoenix, something that had happened in over 1,244 games.
Mm-hmm. People were getting little bit tight at the end of that game. And obviously the Kings have had a couple of those tough ones between Milwaukee and Phoenix and going into that one. But if you take that apart, I mean, it was a great game for Sacramento. You guys already talked a lot about it, but we're coming back here in about 10 seconds.
Great Maida Chevy savings on every new Silverado in stock. Online at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Welcome back into game night right here, Sacktown Sports 1140. Scott Marshall on with the High Flyer, Henry Turner, taking you until 4:30 today, getting you ready for Kings Live pregame. Kings and Grizz, second matchup of the year. They played to close out 2023. The Kings blowing out Memphis, if you'll recall. It was the largest win at the time for the Kings, largest loss of the season at home for the Grizz at that time as well. Obviously, the Grizz are missing a ton of players. We'll get into that in a little bit. In our chat room, we are breaking down some more Super Bowl. And, of course, if you want to do that today, that's fine, too. 49ers are heading to the Super Bowl. We are excited about that at Sacktown 1140 as well. 339-1140, the number to get it done. Henry, one of the things that came up in the chat as well, obviously some fans got a little nervous Saturday night when Dallas looked like they might make that big comeback, maybe a little bit, remembering the trauma of the Phoenix finish. Is it fair to say the Kings are having a hard time finishing out games?
Let me tell you something. For any fan that felt uncomfortable when Dallas made their run, rightfully so, because I was right with them. Because, we have a basketball team that will let you back in the game. We really will. We'll make mistakes. We'll come down and we'll take bad shots. The Sacramento Kings are definitely guilty of that. And if you get a veteran-type basketball team that, understands time, pace, and score, the Kings will let you back in. You know, what Phoenix did to us really shocked this team when they went small and all of a sudden they couldn't find a way to close. So, you know, we've seen it done more than once. You know, we've seen it in Milwaukee, same thing. The Kings could not close. So for a fan to be, you know, looking like, well, I'm a little worried. I was too.
Yeah, no doubt. It got a little nerve-wracking. Good thing they had padded their lead. And I mean, in stretches, they just played so well on Saturday.
They did. They played great basketball.
Yeah.
You know, closing games is still going to be a part of the Kings going to have to get better at, you know, just like defense. You know, it's certain things to where the Kings are going to have to get better all year round. It's not one of those things where you say, okay, we're sufficient now. No, closing games out, you have to get better. You're not sufficient.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. De'Aaron came back with that 34-point game. He was good at Golden State as well, by the way. How about Sabonis? We sometimes neglect the numbers. He's leading the NBA in rebounding, 27 consecutive double-doubles. He's tied with the Joker in that category. The numbers just keep continuing to pile up for Domas.
Very underrated. Domas might be the most underrated big man in the league. I mean, he gets his accolades, but think about it. If it's anybody else that's getting the numbers like Sabonis gets, it will be through the roof. Okay, if Anthony Davis was grabbing rebounds, getting assists, and scoring like Sabonis, he will be number one on the All-Star team. And I'm just talking strictly numbers.
No question.
The dude numbers are off the charts.
They are, absolutely. And that's the point of maybe being in a major market versus in Sacramento, perhaps.
No. Okay. I think, you know, it still has a lot to do with the respect level of the Kings nationwide. You know, same thing with De'Aaron. When De'Aaron was playing his best basketball early on, you couldn't even get the guy's name in the MVP votes. And he was basically the number one guard at that particular point.
Yeah. And by the way, you mentioned AD, the Lakers. That game on Saturday night between the Warriors and the Lakers that went double overtime, you know, watching the Kings game at the same time as watching that game, that was one of the great games of the year as well on Saturday night.
That was called blow for blow. Here's your shot. There's your shot. Here's another one for me. I mean, it was kind of like watching Popeye and Bluto. I know I'm dating myself, but just stand there. One guy hit another one, and the other guy hits him, and who's going to drop first?
Well, LeBron obviously ate his spinach because after Steph hit that three, LeBron got fouled, and he hit both free throws. And that, if there's been one criticism of LeBron over all the years, I don't know how you can criticize anything. It's just he hasn't been a great free throw shooter in the clutch.
We'll give you that.
It wasn't that scenario.
We'll give you that. He hit his shot. The one lucky thing for the Lakers is that they ran the time out. Steph had 1.7 seconds to get a shot off. I tell you what, you give Steph 3 seconds to get a shot off, it might be a different story.
Boy, and that move that Steph made on AD to tie the game up.
Did you see him put the ABS brakes on Anthony Davis?
I think
stop it. I think Anthony
Davis
was
is still going the other direction. He's in Greedo right now.
AD was like, I can't do nothing with that. You know, he stopped so quick and changed direction so fast and went and laid that ball up. I'm like, boy, this kid here is something special.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, we're a little bit past midway point now, but you know, grades are still out. We did our grades last week. ESPN, the magazine, came out with grades for every team. They gave the Kings a B, and we'll just read the brief commentary on it. Quote, only by the standards of last season's unexpected run could Sacramento potentially sliding in to the play-in tournament feel underwhelming. Despite the Kings playing at nearly the same pace in terms of wins, the environment around them has changed, with 4 Western Conference teams on track for at least 54 wins. That's left Sacramento battling to stay in the top 6 rather than in position for home court advantage in the first round.
Okay.
What do you think? I know you gave C- at one point.
Yeah.
Would you upgrade that at all?
Right now? Yes.
Okay.
I would give them a B-.
Okay.
A B-. I still think the Kings have some things they need to take care of. You know, we just talked about it, closing out games. closing out games is huge. In order for you to have a B, A minus, A plus, you really have to be on top of your game. You got to be playing like OKC.
Yeah.
To where you like, you know what? We feel good about any time we walk into an arena. We feel good when the game is tight. We feel good that we're going to make the right decisions, make the right rotations. The Kings are still working on a lot of luck sometimes.
Yep.
A lot of times they play good basketball, but sometimes it's luck that they win. But they have to work on those type of things. So I give them a B minus, but they are trending up.
I agree with that. And I think the B is for Barnes, because when Harrison plays HB, I think the grade is very fair for this team.
Whenever Harrison Barnes plays aggressive, Scott, good things happen when Harrison Barnes say, okay, I'm in tune to this game. The bad things happens when Harrison Barnes elect to just stand in the corner and say, okay, fellas, I'm going to stay over here and watch. Give me some popcorn because I'm just checking you guys out. When Harrison Barnes plays, he gives us something good.
Yep. All right. Before we go to the break, let's get to our good friend Tin. Listening in, Tin. Welcome into game night. How are you? Are you in a wind tunnel, Tin? Where are you, man?
I'm so sorry. Let me move it to cover my shirt so I can cover the speaker. Is that better?
Yeah, it is. Nice job there, Tin. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm on a nice walk, and Scott Marsh. I want to share a story.
Okay.
You know how the Niners just won? Shout out to them for going to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Michael Strahan presented Brock Purdy with some sort of, I don't know if he got an award. I just seen him with a microphone, and he was standing side by side. Anyway, a couple years ago at the Celebrity Golf Tournament in Lake Tahoe, I was there, and Michael Strahan was getting ready to hit. And, I'm a New York Giants fan since, 2007.
That's big.
So I'm like,
yeah. Cool.
Bro, I was wearing my Sacramento Kings hat.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, what's up, Michael? And he just looked, he turned around, he acknowledged me, he looked at me, he was like, what's your hat say? I was like, I guess he wanted a better look at it. I was like, I left my Giants hat at home. But so he got a clear vision, a clear sight of my nice purple. It was a strap back. It was a vintage Sacramento Kings hat, man.
Nice.
I lost it. I lost it going boating. It flew off my head.
No.
I was on a jet ski or something, and but that's funny. And so this call was just to really share that.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, Tin. Good stuff right there. And anytime you're representing.
How you gonna lose the King's hat on a jet ski? I mean, come on, man. You got to have that thing strapped down really tight, or have a safety string around your neck or something. You can't lose the fitted Kings.
I'm with you. We can't bash Tin today.
I mean, but you know what? My cap game is extraordinary.
It is.
And I make sure that I'm always capped up, King style.
And I like the cap you got on right now. People on the YouTube could see it.
And
they all black.
I
like it.
And this is my underrated low-key Kings hat.
Is.
I mean, but you ought to see some of my special ones.
What's your favorite one?
You know what? I got almost every draft hat.
Really?
From 2005, 6. Okay. I got every last one.
Okay.
So those were special hats.
Those were special hats. Did you throw out the one when we didn't take it, Damian Lillard? Did you throw out that yours?
No. I mean, you know what? That's one part of it. But if I get a hat, I keep them.
All right. Fair enough. We got to get to the break. Game night being brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. Check out their full line of luxury vehicles at mbofstockton.com. More of game night coming your way right here. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
All right. We are live on YouTube.
All right.
Henry and I were here at the end of the Lakers and Warriors game on Saturday.
What a game, man.
It was incredible.
It was.
We were trying to time out how we could watch the end of the game during the commercial breaks. It was quite the game to try and figure out the best way to navigate those breaks.
And Kyle, you're an author, by the way. I will say, you said, all right. That's Matthew McConaughey. I'm reading his book, Green Lights, right now. Very good.
Oh, yeah, I've read it too. It's actually pretty good.
Excellent book.
Yeah.
Good stuff. It's not as good as your book on the Spurs.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But you still haven't finished my book yet.
I'm still working through it.
I understand, but
it's a process.
I'm
going to be done with it by the time that they roll into town here in February.
That's true. I guess they will
probably well before. But.
Yeah, they're coming to town twice in I think 2 weeks.
Yeah, they are. Late Feb and then early March. All right, what's going on in our chat?
The people are agreeing with Henry's assessment of the Kings season so far. Okay. In that B minus range, and I think that's probably fair. I mean, they're in the play-in / 5-6 seed range right now, which is obviously a step back from last year, but I think that they're still in a pretty good position depending on how things shake up the second half of the season. And, it's looking like there's a pretty good chance the same core of the team is going to be back for a second playoff run, unless, a dramatic change happens where they're incredibly active on the trade market. I mean, we haven't heard the trade deadline's now just 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks away, and we really haven't heard any big name getting connected to the Kings recently.
It's the calm before the storm. When do you think things are going to take off? Will it be just wait till a couple days before, or do you think we're going to start hearing some stuff here pretty soon?
I think you're going to start hearing some things because, a lot of teams are jockeying, Scott, and a lot of teams are very tight. So, it might take more than 1 or 2 moves out there for teams to get better. So I think they're going to start pretty early.
Yeah, I think we're going to start seeing something. And I think it's going to be a busy year.
I do too.
I think there's going to be a lot of stuff going. There's a lot of teams going for it this year.
For Sacramento or the league at large?
The league in general. I don't know about the Kings so much. I feel less than 50-50 the Kings are going to pull something off.
And if they do pull something off, I think it's going to be someone that's deemed a smaller move, which I don't think that there's anything like a small move, essentially. Like if you're bringing in a rotational player in the playoffs, that's a pretty big deal. But if it's going to be a Matisse Thybulle or a Royce O'Neal, that's less than what maybe people had their mind set on.
Yes. I tell you what, I mean, I'm here for a Thybulle trade.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely here for that. I think that young man is a lot better than a lot of people think that he is because he's been pigeonholed as just a defensive-minded player. But I think the guy could also do something good on the offensive end. I mean, he's definitely a lockdown defender. We've seen that on a couple of occasions, but I think he can do a lot more on the offensive side.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all things shake out. All right, we're about ready to go back on air here.
Yeah, we got about 15 seconds.
Right. Anything else cooking?
Well, I don't have time to go over and look, so we'll just hang out here.
The Studios, your flagship station for the Beam Team.
Can we light the beam? Light the beam, baby.
Sacktown Sports.
Welcome back into Game Night right here, Sacktown Sports, 1140. Scott Marshall with the High Flyer, Henry Turner, Kings and Grizz. We'll break it all down for you in the next segments. We're going to go around the league, get you caught up on some injury stuff. Of course, the Grizz have a ton of injury stuff. Sasha Vincenkoff will try and get a report on him. He's listed as questionable for tonight as well. But some of the stories around the league, Henry, as we take a look, we mentioned about Embiid. He's going to miss a second straight game against Portland tonight. How about this? Ben Simmons returning on a minutes restriction, but we'll be back with the Nets. What do you make of this?
How long of a leash is Ben Simmons going to have? I mean, I understand he's making a ton of money.
Yeah, with a capital T.
Yes, but he's not playing. Even when he's on the floor, he's not playing. So I mean, I'm wondering how long our teams are going to say, okay, we're going to just even give Ben Simmons a chance. Philly, he was done. All right. Brooklyn now, they're riding with him, but he really isn't giving them anything. I think he has one more team that might say, let's take a look. And as soon as he does the exact same thing, it's over.
Could be on the trade deadline.
Could be on the trade deadline.
His contract's so prohibitive.
Who will trade for Ben Simmons?
It's the contract.
When you don't know if the dude's going to even play, not what you're going to get, even if he's going to play. Because, he's dealing with the mental side of things too. Not just the physical, okay, can I knock a shot down? Can I hit a free throw? But he's dealing with the mental side of things.
Yeah, he hasn't played since November 6th, span of 38 games when he had the nerve impingement in the lower back. He's been practicing with the G League affiliate, the Long Island Nets. So we'll see how that all shakes out for him. Some good news for the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton likely back for their game versus the Celtics.
Reese back in a uniform.
We thought we might see him in Sacramento because they upgraded him to questionable, but he hasn't played. He's missed 11 games with that hamstring injury.
You know what? I always root for Reese, man. I like the guy. I think he's a great basketball player. So whenever he gets back on the floor, I definitely root for him, except when he's playing the Kings.
Yep. Mobley back after a 6-week absence with the Cavs, and obviously Evan Mobley will make a big difference. And the Cavs have made a nice run without him.
Yes,
they're
they
playing
have
some good ball right now.
You know, whenever you have a player like a Donovan out there on the floor, Donovan Mitchell can change a basketball game for you. You know, I love the way the point guard is playing Winston. They got big guys down low that can take care of business. So, I mean, they could be very competitive. And then all of a sudden, when they hit a streak to where they're playing some of their best basketball, that's when they're very dangerous.
Yeah, and then, of course, the biggest injury and the one that was tough to watch, Julius Randle, late in the game, dislocating his right shoulder in the game over the weekend against the Hornets. Originally thought that could be a game or an injury that would take him out for the rest of the year. They're hopeful now, the timeline measured in weeks and not months, but nevertheless, that's a huge loss for the Knicks, a team that was really rolling since getting OG Anunoby.
That's going to hurt. It's just really going to hurt big time because, you know, Julius Randle is their motor. Brunson runs the basketball team, but Julius Randle is the motor. And then when they made the trade for Anunoby, that really took a lot of the dirty work off Randle to where he could really get down on the offensive side. So that's when they start playing their best basketball. So now he's down. They're going to have to go a little bit deeper in that roster, and I don't know who's going to fill those big shoes.
Nobody's going to replace those shoes. Now, if there's any sort of maybe good timing to this at all, they've got 10 days off for the All-Star break coming up in February. That helps a little bit in terms of not missing so many games potentially.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you think he was going to make the All-Star team?
He was right on the border.
I was going to say, is there a slot open now?
But, you know, Brunson for sure is on the team.
Right.
Without a doubt. And with the way they were playing, I think Randall had a great case to make. So, yes, it could open up that a reserve spot.
Open up the slot. Nice.
Yeah, no, there's no question about that. That could definitely happen because he would certainly be in consideration for all of that. All right, let's take a look at the NBA scoreboard, other games going on. And first, we'll kind of take a look back last night. Obviously, the big news in the league last night was the Pistons beating the Thunder. How about that? Detroit got their 6th win of the year, beat a team that's leading the Western Conference.
That's smoking the Western Conference. Scott, that just goes to show you, man, that any time in the league, a team can come out and win. We look at Detroit really as a joke. You know, they rebuilding, they losing big time. You know, they're setting records for losses. And then all of a sudden they come out and they beat a basketball team that's looking like they can come out of the West.
Yeah, no question.
That's NBA basketball, baby.
Yep. You know, in OKC, they're calling up on their talk show, what happened to our Thunder last night? Probably in grip mode, all that, right? It's the life of the NBA fan.
And bro, it happens, man. I'm sorry. You know, that's why I was so adamant when the Kings were playing. I'm like, hey, don't let it be you. Because it's going to happen to somebody.
No doubt.
They're going to win a game, so just don't let it be against you.
How about this? Booker goes for another 40-plus in Orlando, but the Suns lose 113-98. So we had a 62-point game that they lost earlier in the week. It goes for 44. They lose again. They only score 13 points in the fourth quarter. I didn't realize this until last night, but they're by far the worst team in the league in the fourth quarter scoring the basketball, and all their numbers in terms of turnovers and point differential, everything else, worst in the league in the fourth quarter. Now, we didn't see that in the Kings game last time, unfortunately, but that was surprising to me.
Hey, and I will ask you this too, Scooter. You know, we talk about big threes and is it working? Is it working for Phoenix?
They're 26-20. They have played better, relatively speaking, although it's not a lot better.
Graded the big three for Phoenix.
I say it's a C plus.
You give them a C plus?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, only because it's still a small sample size, and
I'm more so C minus. I don't think it's working.
You know what? I could live with the C minus. Again, they're not going to be judged until April, May, and June, right? So that's the only thing.
I think they're going to be judged early on.
Okay.
Because I'm with you on a part of that.
Yeah.
Because they really haven't been healthy.
A lot of time yet. I'm going to give them till after the All-Star break to kind of figure it out.
That's fair.
Right?
That's fair.
But if you're asking me what I think the end product is going to be, I don't think this is anywhere near a championship team. Like, I don't see them getting out of the West.
You think they still have a hole? Because see, like right now, almost teams with big threes are championship or bust.
Yeah.
You know, you're looking right now. Okay, Denver the champs.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll give them that. Lakers are always championship or bust. Okay. Clippers, championship or bust. Who else is in that?
Well, of course, Boston. If you want just Western Conference, or are we talking overall?
No,
Milwaukee by far is championship or bust.
All the teams that have big threes are championship or bust.
They are. But I mean, there's championship or bust in your mind, and then there's championship or bust in reality. And to me, the Suns are not a team in reality that is championship or bust.
But are you honestly thinking that they're looking like that? Look at what you have at your disposal.
Yeah.
You have Devin Booker, legitimate all-star.
For sure.
Almost / MVP caliber player.
Yep.
Same thing with KD.
Yep.
Bradley Beal, legitimate all-star.
Yes.
So you don't think they're looking at this roster saying
they are. They are, but I don't see it in the roster is what I'm trying to say. I think, again, the fact their fourth quarter numbers are so bad speaks to the fact they don't have a point guard when they really need one late game situations. They're not getting into shots. They're not getting the offensive efficiency that they need. Can they figure it all out? Perhaps. But again, Booker can go for 62 and you can lose to Charlotte. He can go for 44 and they can lose to the Magic. So what does that tell you?
You know what? It tells you that, Book can get his, but you need more than just Book. And it's crazy when you talk about that team and you putting so much onus on Book. Well, where's KD at in all of this? Because, bro, you are the Durantula. You are the scoring freak out there on the floor. Where are you?
Yeah. And in last night's game, Durant only had 15 points.
And see, is he underperforming? Yes, he is.
He might be. He definitely might be. All right. When we come back, we're going to focus in on the Kings and the Grizz. The Grizz played last night in Indiana, so they had to fly back home. The Kings were there waiting for the Grizz, and this is a Memphis team, as we know, the most banged up team in the league. We'll get into all of that when we come back. Game night's being brought to you by Power Business Technology. Experience how the power of family can help your business office equipment needs today. Contact them at 844-POWER-BZ. or go to powercopiers.com. More of Game Night right here. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
All righty, we are live on YouTube, and you mentioned just how banged up Memphis is. I'm sure we'll get to the injury report in a second.
Oh, but it's going to take 5 minutes to read
this. There's so many names. They had to call up a G League player just to make active roster requirements for this game. It's so many players who are out.
It is crazy.
It's Ja Morant, Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard, Desmond
Bain.
Don't
take the report right now.
Look, this is a special treat.
There's only one person does the injury report.
Kyle's like, look, man, this is what it is.
It's crazy how many people are out for Memphis at this point.
It is crazy.
It's the Kings. The joke that goes around every time is like, oh, their star player is out, so now the Kings are in trouble.
And here's the thing. I mean, because we're going to break it back when we come on air, but the Grizz had won 3 straight before losing in Indiana. They're actually playing pretty well. You got to give them a lot of credit for what they've been doing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this season is going to, at the end of it, feel like a wash for Memphis, because even when they got Morant back, they would have had to have played the rest of the season at the pace they were at last year to just get into the 9 or the 10 seed. And now without Ja, there's virtually no chance they're going to get there. But even though it's going to feel like a lost season, these are players who, a handful
of development year.
Yeah, a handful of them will be on the team. They'll get a lottery pick at the end of this and add that to the mix with the group. It'll be just the season's going to feel like a loss at the end, but they have a chance to get some gains in the in-between.
Yep. All right. Well, if we do a poll question next, I want to know how many road wins we're going to get on this trip.
Let's see.
Feedback on that?
So they have 1 already.
They've got 2 already.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right, because the Warriors counts as a road game.
I'm about to say, where he been?
You go play at Chase Center and tell us if it's a road game or not.
2 on the road. They got 5 to go here. Depending on how good you feel about tonight, maybe you have a chance to get to 3. I know I'm tempering the point of saying they're not going to run through Memphis, but they have a good chance of winning. So, I mean, 5 is 5 a reasonable expectation?
5 would be an amazing road trip. I mean, obviously, on paper, which we've learned means nothing. They got a great chance. Miami's struggling. Then you go to Indiana. You'll see Tyrese back on that back-to-back in Chicago. Then you finish up in Cleveland. So it gets tougher for sure.
5 seems doable, especially because they've knocked the first 2 out here. We can talk about it more when we come back. We got 10 seconds.
G in the word golf. Spell golf and you're out. Try it. That's your golf to go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Welcome back in the game night right here, Sacktown Sports, 1140. Scott Marshall on with the High Flyer Henry Turner, taking you up until 4:30, getting you ready for Kings Live pregame. Kings and Grizz game night, being brought to you by Folsom Lake Honda. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. All right, time for this injury report. All right, Henry, your legs are kicked up, but you might want to get a couple pillows. You might want to get some popcorn. You might want to, just settle in for a while here.
And you take a deep breath. We got the oxygen tank over there just in case you need it.
No doubt. This one's going to take a while. It's brought to you by the Arnold Law Firm, providing you justice since 1975. Give the Arnold Law Firm a call, 916-777-7777. For the Kings, it's relatively minor tonight, and we'll have a full update in Kings Live pregame on the availability of Sasha Vezenkov. He's listed as questionable. Usually that means available, but some cases it means out. And Kyle telling me in my headset here that he is actually going to be out for tonight. So no Sasha Vezenkov tonight for the Kings. Everybody else able to go. All right, here we go for the Grizz. Start, and maybe need some music for this one. Vince Williams will be out with his knee. Or questionable with his knee. Doubtful, John Concher. With his ankle, Zaire Williams. With his hand out, of course, Steven Adams with the knee. Desmond Bain, ankle. Brandon Clark, Achilles. Luke Kennard, knee. Jake LaRavia, ankle. John Morant, shoulder. Derrick Rose, hamstring. And Marcus Smart, finger. And I think I just read the entire Grizz roster.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Exactly. You know what's impressive is this Grizz team, despite all of that, they had won 3 games prior to losing last night in Indiana. They're still playing hard for Taylor Jenkins.
You know what? And you take your hat off to Taylor Jenkins for, being able to still get a group of guys to rally and play good basketball when you're losing that many players on your regular roster.
Yeah, no, it's impressive. And to our point, as we say every night in the NBA, if you think you're just going to show up, the ball's going to be rolled out and you're going to get a W, it's not going to happen.
Nope, not at all. Because you're playing against NBA quality players. Everybody that's in that uniform pretty much deserve to be out there. So if you let those guys come out there and let them get rolling and get some confidence is everything in this league. And if you give a team confidence, I don't care who you are, you're going to be in for a dogfight. We talk about that every time the Kings face a team that's undermanned. I'm like, do not give the guys coming off the bench confidence, and we've seen that time and time and time again.
And they still have one bona fide all-star who's healthy, and that's Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr., who is having a really good year.
Right. I mean, JJ's having his way. I mean, he's the alpha and the omega out there on the floor. His numbers should be through the roof, but at the end of the day, he's still learning how to play with different guys.
Yeah, no question. The Grizz were 6-19 without John Morant. He came back. He only played 9 games before leaving for the season. They're 5.5 games out of a play-in situation at 18-28. Do they have any chance? They're 5.5 games back of Utah at this point for that final play. And do we even consider Memphis still with a chance?
I never say never, but it's definitely going to be an uphill battle. It's going to be a hard rope to toe because, the West is tough, man, and it's getting tougher and tougher by the day.
It is. All right, let's take a quick call before we continue to break this one down. Marcus, you're on game night, and then you had some comments about the Suns and our conversation from earlier. What's up, my friend?
Hey, absolutely. How you gentlemen doing this afternoon?
We're doing great, man. We're doing great.
Hey, that's what I love to hear. First and foremost, I want to say, let's go Sacramento Kingdom. Let's go ahead and root our boys on tonight.
Yep.
But I did want to go ahead and speak on something that you guys were talking about in the last segment in regards to the Suns. Now, you guys can fact check me. I'm looking at Kevin Durant, and I personally feel like as long as he is your leader, you're not going to win the title. If you look at who his personnel has been throughout his entire career, he has always had between 1, 2, or 3 All-Stars on his team. The only time he was able to actually get a title was with the Warriors, where he was, playing second fiddle to the MVP of Steph Curry. Now, he ended up getting these MVP in that finals, but Steph also sacrificed a lot in that. But if you look at teams talking about from way back in OKC when he had Russ, when he went to New Jersey, when he went to Brooklyn, Kyrie, now over here with Phoenix with all of these weapons. Unfortunately, with as talented and as gifted as this man is, if you have him as your number one option, he has not proven that he can lead you to a title.
All right, Marcus, appreciate the phone call. Henry, what do you think?
Well, I don't think that KD is the alpha on this team. I still think Book is.
Yeah.
He's going to always be a great Robin. He's not going to be a regular Robin. He's going to be a great Robin. I understand where they're saying that if Kevin Durant is your number one, you're kind of losing out there on the floor. His career has went that way, but I still look at Kevin Durant as, one of those guys who can either make or break a basketball team, because he's just that talented.
I would agree with that. And the other thing too, and I can't argue, obviously he went to Golden State and picked up a couple of rings there, but he was also a finals MVP in Golden State. It wasn't like he didn't do anything. He didn't necessarily play second fiddle to stuff. I understand the point that Marcus is making, but he was a vital part of those Warriors teams.
You know what? No, Marcus makes a great point. He
does.
A great point because, Steph gave up a lot and deferred a lot to KD. But that's what I'm saying is that when KD is an option B, he's a great option B, bro, because he's really, you look at him and say, okay, he's really an A.
Sure.
But if he slides down to your B option, you're winning.
No, it's great. But he did in those two titles with Golden State. He did win the finals MVP both of those years.
Played very great. Very good basketball.
Yeah.
But it almost goes back to what we say, Scooter. Everybody isn't an A guy.
Right.
Even guys with A talent. But you put them in that B category and they're great.
Yeah. All right. Couple minutes left. Let's focus in on Kings. Obviously, they have a lot in their favor tonight. What do they need to do to close it out?
Play Kings basketball. It's imperative. We've seen it. Do not look down on that roster, on that bench and say, okay, they are undermanned. We can just walk in here and they're going to lay down and give us this game, because guess what? They're not.
No, Memphis is going to play hard.
They're not. They're going to play hard. And if you walk in there and don't bring your A game in the fourth quarter, we're going to be looking at each other saying, what happened?
Yeah. And, they had no problem with that on New Year's Day. They killed the Grizz 123-92. Hopefully more of the same tonight. It's interesting because Memphis, they're even record on the road. They're 13-13, but at home, they've been just a terrible home team. And it's really hard to figure out. They only have 5 home wins right now.
Struggling at home, but still overall, Scott, showing you that they are capable of winning a game.
They are.
So you can't walk in there and underestimate this basketball team. You got to go in there and take care of business.
You do indeed. All right, that's going to do it for game night. High Flyer is always great to work with you. Happy for you and your Niners and our Niners. And
I was about to say, man, this is the gang thing.
All share together. We'll be breaking it down the next couple of weeks on game night for sure. You'll stick around. Jay Ross coming in. Kings Live pregame is next. Tip at 5:00. The G-Man with the call. It's game 3 of the 7-game road trip. Can the Kings start off this trip at 3-0? Keep it tuned here all evening long. Sacramento Kings basketball right here on Sacktown Sports 1140.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take